Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our last press briefing of the day. And the purpose of this press release is to close the poll in accordance with the Electoral Act Section 66, which states that the poll starts at 6:30 in the morning and closes at 7 p.m. We have just noticed that 7 o'clock has just knocked, and the understanding is that in any police station where we have a few people who may not be voting by the time 7 o'clock knocked, believe that the police station has already gone through the verification process in preparation for the transfer of the ballot box to counting centers. For those police stations which might have experienced large numbers of voters coming at or towards the end of the day, we may have them continue with polling until the last voter has taken the voting exercise. Now, what follows after this closure of polls or closure of police stations, still following the requirement of the law, all the presiding officers will be transporting all the ballot boxes to the various counting centers. And I wish to note and make you aware that elections here, counting takes place in 2 different counting centers. We have the counting centers for the 490 polling districts, and we have 57 counting centers for parliamentary elections in the 57 constituencies. Now, as soon as each ballot box arrives at a counting center, the returning officer would request the presiding officer to hand over a ballot paper account which explains how the poll has taken place at police station. Now, as soon as the verification of that ballot box is finished, it is put aside, waiting for all other ballot papers from different police stations. And after all the ballot boxes have arrived at a polling district or at a constituency, that's when counting will start. Now, we hope that if all police stations have been closed at 7, one would expect counting to start as soon as all the ballot papers have reached their destination counting centers, which might take some time, given that some ballot papers would have to be transported more than 100 kilometers to the counting centers. And we also hope that for those ballot boxes which travel short distances, in the form of those that are destined for polling district centers, county centers, we might have the results soonest around 10 or around 11, because if you look at a polling district, we may have something like 10 police stations or even less. And verification of such doesn't take long as compared to the verification of ballot papers for parliamentary constituencies, because there we are talking about more than 40 police stations, and each ballot box must be verified before counting could start. Now, we may witness a variation of counting methods as compared to the previous elections and by-elections, where after the arrival of all ballot boxes, all the ballot papers will be mixed, and before counting could start, the ballot papers were separated into respective receptacles of different candidates. To try to deal with the delay before the release of the results, the IEC introduced an initiative where counting will take place simultaneously with separation of ballot papers according to respective candidates. We have introduced what you call tally sheets, where at the time when ballot papers are separated according to candidates, there will be an election officer who would at the same time be tallying the numbers as each ballot paper candidate is being called out. There will be an officer just behind the counting desk to tally the number of the ballot papers per a candidate. And we have experienced in the past that that process has cut the waiting time after counting for considerable time. One would think of around 6 or even 5 hours or 6 hours that we usually take before we could release the results. And I want to make it known to those who are not familiar with the process counting in Botswana that the results are released at constituency level and the results are released at polling district level. Now, by the time we have those figures sent to the head office, we already know or we already have the final results. And the purpose of this center would only to try to collate the outcome of different polling districts and outcome of different constituencies for the benefits of those who may wish to see the developments or the developments regarding the result of different constituencies and polling districts. But you may not wait in this place if you want to know the result of a particular constituency. You can actually liaise with your colleagues in those areas, and as long as those results have been released by the returning officer, those are considered final. Ladies and gentlemen, let me not take much time because I believe now those who are fortunate enough to close at 7 must be heading to the counting centers to start verification. And let me take this opportunity to stop that far and allow or entertain a few questions if you have any. Or otherwise, let's hang around, wait for the first result to be to arrive in this place. Thank you very much. I don't know. How we? I want a Rovi mic.
Hello. Could you just explain me what happens when we're hearing stories or reports for some polling stations like Hadinamotakas, like in Muchut, Lemone Bulula, I believe, and Block 6. What happens then? Does it automatically stop until Motakasi starts again, and that's when everything will be the procedure will start? Or what? Could you just explain that to us, please?
If I get your question right, you are talking about the absence of electricity at police stations or at counting centers. Police stations. There's always provision for the unavailability of electricity in the form of the Commission has acquired lamps, electricity charged lamps, and the gas lamps for purposes for continuing power. If it happens that it will continue beyond 7, or if it becomes darker in the area where the poll is taking place. So there's always provision for the lamps that are used as contingency in such circumstances.
There has been reports that there are certain party members who have been found with quite a number of register cards. They see the little brown thing. Is that allowed? Because there's somebody who police those registration cards. Is it allowed?
Yes, I think you have partly touched on the answer, because it is not allowed to be found in possession of a card that does not belong to you. But we must also remember that if there is an agreement that you should keep that card, then it's a different matter. And it becomes an issue if there is a complainant. And if there is a complainant, you report that to the police. You have rightly noted that some people are at the police, be investigated or otherwise. It shows that there was a complainant, and because the law does not allow you to be in possession of something that does not belong to you, obviously it's a police case.